Hello, I'm Bronwyn Long Borne, author of Custodian of the Spirits, the first book in the Valley of Heart's Delight series. Set in 1857, Custodian of the Spirits tells the story of Fiona Lenihan, a widow traveling west with her two young children, 8-year-old Caleb and 3-year-old Maggie. They're part of a wagon train led by Keir Moran, who has become Caleb's idol over the course of their months-long journey. Their destination, the Valley of Heart's Delight in California, known today as Silicon Valley. Fiona Lenihan had fled the potato famine in 1847 and emigrated to America. Because she has crossed an ocean, she believes she can cross a continent. This excerpt from Custodian of the Spirits depicts an interaction between Fiona, Keir, and Caleb after a day of travel. At this point in the story, Fiona is no admirer of the wagon master, but Caleb and his band of boys idolize him. Caleb was fascinated by Keir and found the likes of him, Billy Noble, and Brent Starr to be in the same league as Daniel Boone. Caleb studied them from afar and spent as much time as an 8-year-old could in the presence of these men. One evening, Fiona found Caleb talking to Keir and Billy where they were working in the makeshift corral. The wind carried Caleb's childlike voice. He was firing questions at the two men with the speed of a marksman. Kildare, Fiona heard Keir reply to her son's inquiry. Your horse is named Kildare? Caleb asked, his eyes bright at the suggestion of violence. He is, Keir replied, teasing a smile. I like riding an animal whose name carries an implied threat, he quipped, then laughed to show Caleb it was a joke. Billy grinned with good humor and waved his greeting to Fiona when he saw her approaching. Caleb laughed harder when he understood the joke. Keir glanced beyond Caleb's shoulder to Fiona, who was not laughing. Mrs. Lenihan, he greeted, his smile still fresh from his exchange with her son. Come, Caleb and the rest of you, she said when she saw 3 of Caleb's friends. We need to leave Billy and Mr. Moran to their work. It's okay, Mrs. Lenihan, said Billy. We've spent the whole day in near silence on horseback. Talking is golden. Actually, Kildare was named for the county in Ireland known for its horses. You should ask your mother to tell you about it. Do you know the derivation of your name? Keir asked Caleb, then met Fiona's eyes before returning them to her son's. Caleb was one of 12 men Moses sent to spy in the land of Canaan. He entered the promised land with Joshua. It means bold. It suits you. What does Kieran mean? Caleb asked, relishing the topic of conversation. He was not about to obey his mother and leave in the middle of such an exchange. Fiona stood in silence, watching her son and these men enjoy each other's company. She was an outsider, but knew Keir's aim was to draw her into their conversation. Black, Keir replied. Black? Caleb giggled. They say when I was born I had the blackest hair and the blackest eyes anyone had ever seen. Some say I still have the blackest heart anyone has ever seen. Keir looked up at Fiona, who appeared unmoved. Nah, Caleb giggled. On the other hand, the name Fiona suits your mother, Keir said, watching her. She shifted uncomfortably under his attention. It's time for bed, Caleb, she said. Pure and white, Keir said. She grew flustered, her eyes wandering but always returning to his. And light. Your mother is rather serious for a Fiona, he continued, teasing mother and son, coaxing a hint of a smile out of Fiona. She should smile more often, maybe even laugh. His eyes danced. Fiona reddened. His unexpected charm was beguiling. It was a liberating moment, and she found herself laughing, perplexed as much by her reaction as by Keir's previously unrevealed warmth. Up to that moment, she would have surmised that if anyone needed to smile or laugh more, it would have been Keir. Good night, Caleb, Jimmy, Bobby, Frank, Keir said, smiling affectionately at the boys. Mrs. Lenihan, he continued, shifting his focus to her. Something in the way he said her name quickened her heart. Mr. Moran, Billy, she replied with a nod to each. She put her arm around Caleb and they headed back to their wagon, Caleb's friends following like ducklings. She paused to shepherd the group of boys ahead of her and turned back to look at Keir. His eyes had never left her. She rewarded him with a smile. Billy watched their exchange with a broad grin. "That's a fine woman," he offered, "and she sure can cook." Keir cast him a warning glance before returning to his work. Thank you for listening. You can find Custodian of the Spirits at Book Bar on the Wild Rose Press website and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and other fine booksellers.